We're going to discuss the transfer standard utility this time. Transfer standard utility will be used quite extensively throughout the militaries. This is a transfer standard here. This is an SR1010 box. They also make a 1030 with 3 of them in an oil bath, and a 1060 which has 6 of them in an oil bath. And these things are essentially Heyman transfer standards that allow you to ladder up and ladder down, used to calibrate things like DMMs and that sort of thing. So we have a utility inside BridgeWorks that allows us to do the calibration of these things automated. The utility exploits the use of this SR1010 adapter we have here that's attached to the system, and this is connected through channels 1 to 12 on the bottom scanner here. So essentially, to connect this thing, you see here you've got A0 all the way up to A12 and C. Connections from 1 to 11. And you see here, you just line up, this is A0, A0. And you line up all your banana jacks, like that. And you just press it on. It's quite stiff because you are plugging in about 24, 25 banana jacks. So it takes a fair amount of force to actually put it in there, but make sure you've got a good secure connection, because the integrity of your connections, of course, will dictate the quality of your measurement. So with this thing connected, then you're able to start to run the transfer standard utility. So this example here, I'm using a 1 ohm per step, which means it's got 12 1 ohm resistors inside this Heyman standard that are going to be measured. To do this, you come over to the configuration menu and go to transfer standard. In a transfer standard utility, you have 2 options. You have auto and manual. The manual mode actually is for an SR1050, which is a different type of adapter. It doesn't use the adapter, actually. It's more like a decade box where you have individual switches to make the measurements, and it has 11 elements in it. So this utility was actually designed to work with both of them. For today's example, we're going to work with the SR1010, which is the more commonly seen version. So essentially, you see here you got your choice of number of elements is typically 12. And you can choose your reversal rate. I would pick something about 20 seconds for a 1 ohm. And how many samples you'd like to take per resistor. Bearing in mind that these resistors are about 1 ppm, which is actually quite a relaxed specification for the bridge. It's about 10 times less accurate than a bridge. The bridge will do 0.1 ppm. You can run these tests a little bit faster than the standard recommendations that we have in the manual. So I would normally run this for, instead of going all the way to 100 samples, I'd run this for about maybe 35 samples or so. And the adapter, by default, is set to channels 1 to 12, and that's how it's wired in the system, so you don't really need to change that. And the reference channel, if I'm measuring a 1 ohm per step, then what I'm going to do is need a 1 ohm resistor to make that measurement. And so my 1 ohm is on channel 17, so this is already configured to the right channel. And essentially, over on this side, I can choose what's happening. So it's a 1 ohm per element, and I'm going to make the measurement at 100 milliamps. And my reference value here, essentially, I'll click on load ref and bring in my 1 ohm. And gives my serial number and my traceability, and of course you enter in your serial number for your device that's here, asset ID number, and the model number. This is an SR1010. There you go. So when this is all set up, basically you click on the start button there, and the test will proceed to use the adapter to measure each one of these elements individually. Once you're complete with this measurement, then you'll have to disconnect this device, and these 2 thumb pressure points here with the black valves on is how you can help lift this adapter off. It comes off quite easily with that. And then you'll take your SR1010 and you'll reconfigure it for a series parallel measurement using the shorting bars that come with the SR1010, and make the measurement over again in the utility just by clicking the go button over here. And you'll have to connect, of course, the series parallel adapters to one scanner channel, and by default we have it set to the channel 32, but it could be any free channel that's available from 26 up to 32. And when that's complete, you'll basically be able to look at your report. Viewing the current data, you'll see here that basically has a report and a summary of all your resistance values, as well as the standard deviations, your reference uncertainty and your expanded uncertainty, as well as your relative uncertainty. So it's a full uncertainty budget calculated for each element, as well as your series parallel value and all the calculations that determine whether or not this thing is working within delta nominal from the series parallel value. And essentially that's it with this utility. You can save these results and bring them back for later recall, and maintain it as your traceability logs for this SR1010.